Old friends pass away, new friends appear. It is just like the days. An old day passes, a new day arrives. The important thing is to make it meaningful, a meaningful friend or a meaningful day. The Dalai Lama. Mother, Father God, we thank you for your presence here among us today. We call on our angels, guides, teachers, and loved ones in spirit to step in closely with us. And we give thanks for this as we pray the prayer that the Master Jesus taught. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Let's do that again. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a better day already. I am so pleased to welcome you to the USCL Church today. My name is Reverend Joanne Franchina. Are we going to be irreverent today, or are we going to be reverent today?
Irreverent.
Irreverent. Right. It's great time of year to be irreverent. And I am especially pleased to be here as chairperson. Chairperson today. I get to just be chairperson today. Yeah, right. And introduce you to Reverend Maria Leggett. Many of you have seen or met her here among our congregation. And what you may not know, as this past August, she was ordained as an associate minister of spiritualism. And I was honored to be among those witnessing the ordination, as she has been a student in seminary where both I and my late mother attended Fellowships of the Spirit in Lilydale, New York. And I am thrilled then, her maiden voyage here at the USCL Church on this day today, which is personally so important to me because it is the anniversary of the birthday of my late mother, Jacqueline Franchina. I know Maria as a student, as a colleague. I know her as a kind of honorary grand godmother to my great niece and nephew. I know her as a dear friend, and now an office mate even here in the Cincinnati area. So let me say again, old friends pass away, new friends appear. Today we have both a meaningful friend and a meaningful day. You may be seated. All right. Have Maria come on up, and she will share some wisdom with us.
All right. Good morning.
Good
morning.
So this is a monumental day in my life. Monumental day in my life. For many years of my life, I would say suffered, but dealt with OCD. And it wasn't so much for cleaning, although my family really wishes it was. It was more about the routine of things. I had to have a routine because I had to have safety. I experienced a lot of trauma when I was younger. And so the routine helped me to feel safe, down to the point where I would literally take the same path to work every day. I would buy the same type of toothbrush, the same type of toothpaste. And if anything changed, it freaked me out because change for me was never good when I was younger. And so all of this leads to 4 years ago, when I started taking mediumship mastery with Joanne and Rose. We walked in one day, and it was the day that we were going to practice mediumship demonstration. And I walked in, and chairs were all set up like a church, and there was an open place at the front. And thank God Kathy was there that day because I had an absolute panic attack. Panic. And Rose and Joanne held space for me while I broke down. I cried. I just worked through my panic. They helped me to work through all of it. So did my other fellow students. While Kathy sat there and held my hand. And this trauma comes from the fact that I was 11 or 12 years old when I was uninvited from a church with my mother because they didn't like the fact that my mother had broken up with her boyfriend, who was the largest benefactor in the church. So he had asked that we be removed from the church so that he didn't have to look at us anymore. And so for me, I always associated church with trauma. And it doesn't cease to amaze me, literally never ceases to amaze me, that when I run a class, when I have a client, that they will tell me all of these different sordid stories that they've had difficulty with the dogma of whatever church that they grew up in. And so when I heard about, a spiritualist church, I went, it's probably no different than anything else. I can't do it. So that day I walked in, had this massive panic attack. And I look back at my life and I see all the ways that Spirit said, okay, here's the path that we want you to take, Shell. This is what you're going to do. And I'm like, yeah, that's not happening. Very first thing they said to me, well, you're going to be a medium. Not me. That's for somebody else, not for me. And never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that I would be standing at a podium in a church after having that massive panic attack. However, what Spirit has done for me and what Rose and Joanne and Chad have done for me is phenomenal. They held space for me to work through all the things that I needed to go through, all the pain, all the anguish, the anxiety, and then the rebellion. Oh, I'm not doing that. Sorry. Not happening. And they never once said, well, you have to do this. It was lovingly, okay, well, if you don't want to, you don't have to. You can just sit there and wait. And that was a whole new experience for me. I'd never had that before. Nobody had ever said, it's okay. If that's your safe zone, then that's where we want you to be. And that allowed me to be able to become safe again. And I can honestly tell you, 4 years later, I have minor little OCD things, but I've worked through so much of it that now I can take any path I want to work and I can change it. And I have this deal with my GPS, right? Because we know spirits and everything. So there's a special GPS spirit that I have. Literally. So I have this wonderful GPS spirit and I had to make this deal. And I said, okay, here's the thing. I'm trying to break my OCD, so you have to work with me. You need to make corrections, do whatever we have to do so it short circuits me so that I can work with that trigger and get through it. Literally, it was as if the GPS said, challenge accepted. So I have learned not to put the challenge out to spirit. It will happen. It will happen. And so the GPS says, okay, we're going to take you different ways. And I was taking a different path one day. And as I'm working through the anxiety, I actually find driving a wonderful meditation for me. So I can actually sit and talk to spirit while I'm driving. And I said, okay, spirit, what is there for me to learn in this trigger? What is there for me to get through this? And they said, the fact that you're being brave and you're doing it anyway. That's what you're getting from this. You're being brave. Brave doesn't mean that I'm super strong and I can go to war, although that is an amazing bravery that I could not do. Being brave is being absolutely terrified and stepping out of your comfort zone where your growth is and doing it anyway. That is the true definition of bravery. I can't imagine that the men and women who fight for our country wake up and go, hey, let me go put my life on the line. Let's go. That's not enjoyable for them. They have families, they have friends. They don't want to leave them, but they do it because they feel it's the right thing to do. So if they can do something like that, the least that I can do is to step through my anxiety, to step through what works for me and serve other people. I know that this is my path to serve. And only through the courses that I've taken with Joanne and Chad and Rose do I know I am meant to serve. So one of the things I want to talk about today is we are right now in what's called shadow season. And this is called shadow season because of the placement of the sun and the earth. Your shadow is actually the longest that it's going to be any other time of the year. Spirit is asking us during this time to address the things that make us uncomfortable. Address our triggers. Start to work through them. Beginning to work through these triggers and acknowledging them and acknowledging how we agree to participate in our trigger because we allow that fear to overrun us. That's truly a choice. And that was really hard for me to recognize that I participated in that trigger because I allowed the fear to stay here. I allowed it to totally overrule what I knew here. And so finally, Spirit said, listen, we've got to get you out of this. We have plans for you. You need to grow. So you have to get out of this. You have to learn to become open. And all we're asking you to do is to surrender to trust. Trust was very difficult for me because of the trauma that I experienced. And I know that the only way that I can move through life is to stand in a capital T of trust for what I need to do, knowing that Spirit has my back, that Spirit will help guide me forward. Spirit will teach me rather than saying I cannot and I don't. Because that becomes part of your vibration. When we have this law of attraction back and forth, if I say I can't, guess what? I can't. Because I said so. I determined that that was true. You get to decide every single day, do I want to do this? People like to believe that there are only two choices in life, yes or no, and that's not true. Indecision is a choice. You're choosing not to do something about it. So in this season, invite Spirit in, sit in meditation, listen to your body. What do you need to address? What does Spirit want you to address so that you can step out of your comfort zone during this shadow season and become the best version of yourself, allowing yourself to grow, being open to change, being open to possibilities that you never thought were there before because I can't. I used to say, I can't go to church. I can't do that. I'm standing right here in front of you. I'm not having a panic attack. I didn't break down in tears. My heart's not thumping. And on my way down here, Spirit said, look, you're just going to work. It's just a different job. Did you panic when you were going to the corporate world? No, I don't. And they said, do you panic before you go live? And I said, that's not fair because you know I do. And they said, yes, but you do it anyway. It's the same thing. It's no different. So this is the time of the year for us to become mindful of our words, mindful of our intention. What do you want to bring to yourself come the spring? Right now, we're heading into, especially when the time changes in November, we're heading into what's known as the darkest part of the year. This is when a lot of people struggle with seasonal affective depression disorder called SAD, totally appropriate. My husband struggles with this, not that he wants me to say that, whatever. But it's all right.
Recording in progress.
Right. Yeah, but here's the thing, he's not watching, it's all good. And, honey, if you are, I love you. I'll see you at home. If you don't change the locks. But this is a real thing for people, right? It gets dark, you don't have as much light. But here's the thing. We don't have to rely on the light that's in the sun. We carry the light within us everywhere we go, everything that we do. We are the light. Are you going to choose to let your light shine? Or are you going to choose to dim your light because someone else told you to? You do not have to allow someone else's words, someone else's thought processes of you to become your truth. You just don't. I could stand here and be really upset that my family is not sitting out here. My DNA family, let me correct that. My children are not on Zoom. My husband's not on Zoom. He chose not to come with me. But here's the thing, this is not their path, this is mine. I don't need to rely on them to support me to get to this place. They support me in so many other ways. And years ago, I would have been so upset with them, well, you didn't support me, you didn't do this. And all that was a lack of confidence in myself. I needed to look to them, give it to me, I need that. And I don't need it. But what I do see, and I am overwhelmed with love, is that my chosen family, so many of them are on here right now, sitting in front of me, sending me love and supporting me and smiling at me. And at least Amber's not sticking her tongue out at me. Oh, she's behaving. You know, and I have some of my students who are online. Granted, I did tell them they had to be on, but they're still there loving me and supporting me. And so I have this amazing group that I have developed through choice. Had I not made the mindful intention and planted the seed, which is why you're hearing so much about seeds today, the things that we plant right now, the seeds that we drop into the ground that will go dormant for the winter, will flourish and become possibility in the spring. Do you want to plant possibility for yourself, or do you want to plant indecision? Or do you want to plant, I don't, I can't? It's totally up to you. You get to choose that. Nobody chooses that for you. Whatever you choose to do for yourself is true and right for you. And there's nothing wrong with that. All along this way, I have experienced so much love and released so many triggers. And it was just because I was so afraid and so fearful of change because of what happened to me. And now I'm not going to lie and stand here and go, I embrace change, because that ain't true. But I welcome the opportunity to change, to show me what trigger do I need to address today, what's going to happen. Traveling was not something I ever wanted to do either. But yet, I have 2 friends flying in from different states, and tomorrow morning, 4 of us are getting on a plane to fly to Scotland, where we're going to train with 3 mediums, and we're going to have more development, more experience, right? And believe me, this has not been without change either. Our travel plans have had to change. Oh, we're not going to pick you up at the airport, you got to take a train. Oh, we're not going to pick you up from the train station, now you got to take a taxi. A couple of years ago, I would have freaked out and went, that's it, I'm not going. Really, I would have done it. I would have let that money go because I needed that safety. But breaking out of it, what an experience I'm going to have. Even if the classes are awful, which I don't think they will be. But being able to have that experience with 3 of my girlfriends, where the 4 of us get to have this energy and share that together, I wouldn't give that up for the world. Don't allow yourself to stay small. You don't have to. I've spent my entire life staying small, with my shoulders hunched over like this, with my head down to the ground. Don't see me, don't see me, don't see me. But here I am. Look at me. I am doing it and I'm not falling apart. Right? Where's your growth? What can you do to help to change yourself? This has not been easy for me. And the people who've known me for a long time, Joanne, can attest to the fact that I am totally different than I was when I first met her 4 years ago. Totally different. And this has been such a blessing and an honor to be here with all of you. And even though my time is almost up, I just want to be completely open and honest. I didn't even write any of this. This was all just channeled. Share it, right? Because that's what Spirit wants you to do. There's a saying, you know, the human plans and the goddess laughs. You can plan all you want, but we have this plan and it may not match yours. And that's okay. So now I'm just learning to go with the flow and be okay with that change. If I can do this, the OCD, forcing my expectations and forcing my will on everyone else just to make myself safe, all of you can do this. And I know that sounds easier said than done because I was the one sitting there going, oh yeah, but you don't have my background. We all have things that have happened to us, all of us. It's a matter of how you choose to work through that changes the person that you are. Be authentic, be truly you, love yourself for everything that you are. Spirit was very clear to me long ago that, and I teach this to all my students, you were born with everything you need to be successful. You do not need to search externally for that validation. It comes from here. You can learn in a church, you can learn in classes, you can have amazing teachers, but if you're not willing to accept that and embrace it, it's not going to happen. So all I'm asking for you is to embrace that just a little bit, just one little change to show spirit and set that vibration out into the world that you are ready, no matter how little it might be. Maybe you're indecisive tomorrow, but for the rest of today, I'm going to be open for. Allow yourself that challenge. So many blessings to all of you. Thank you so, so much for letting me be up here and share my story and help you to laugh just a little. It's one of the favorite things I love to do. Meditation now, right? I need water.
Whatever.
But I'm so used to you bossing me around, telling me what to do. She really wasn't like that. Rose was, but Joanne wasn't. And if you know Rose, you know.
Love you, Rose.
I totally. That was not a bad thing. I got a lot of good stuff from that. So we're just going to do a short little meditation. So I just invite you to close your eyes and relax. Open your minds and open your hearts. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Allowing your breath to become relaxed and happy. I invite you into a beautiful garden. I ask you to visualize this garden now where you see flowers and trees. Everything is in bloom. The growth is amazing. There's every flower imaginable. You can hear running water in the background. You can see stepping stones, paths to walk. You may see animals. Knowing that whatever you envision is true and right for you. I ask for you to go and find a bench or a place to sit. And allow yourself to just sit down in this beautiful, peaceful place, knowing that you're held in such a safe container. And as you're sitting down, I want you to take this moment to tell your ego to step out of your body. Step to the right or step to the left, whatever works for you. Feel as that ego steps to the side, how your energy changes. It lifts. With your ego not there, all you are is your higher self. Look at the beauty of the light that you are. the way that you were truly born. You are a piece of the Christ consciousness, the light, the source of all. And as you're in your higher self, ask now, what is it that I need to let go of in this moment? What intention do I need to set to move forward? When they're done speaking, ask your higher self to tell you what seed it is that you need to plant now to help bring about this change. How you can participate in your own healing. As they finish telling you this, ask them, what message do I need to hear the most today? Thank your higher spirit for being there with you. And look at your ego. Notice how it's standing there. What body position is it maintaining? Knowing that you can recognize this body position when you do it in your physical form and know that that may be an ego stance for you. Invite your ego to become one with your higher self again. Noticing when you integrate and come back together, how your vibration changes. Your higher self will remind you going forward what decisions are made with your higher purpose, or which decisions are made with your ego. Thank this beautiful garden for being here, knowing that you may return to this spot at any time. Begin bringing your awareness to your toes, to your ankles, and your calves. Bringing your awareness back into your body with your knees, and your thighs, and your seat. Starting to come fully back into awareness, bringing your attention to your shoulders, rolling your shoulders, rolling your head, coming fully back into awareness. And when you're ready, open your eyes, knowing that you are ready to have an absolutely beautiful rest of the day. Thank you so much for allowing me to serve today.